Welcome to Learnlyte. My name is Theodore. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about functions. And writing functions is a fundamental thing that all programmers do. And from this point onward, it will be us writing a lot of different functions to accomplish a lot of different tasks. With that being said, let's begin by what is a function. By definition, a function is basically to specify a name of a sequence of instruction. Basically allow us to basically give a name to a sequence of instructions that the Python interpreter will execute basically. And then later on in our Python program, we can call that function via its function name. So with that out of the way, let's get into some examples. So here I'm going to bring up the interpreter, and then I'm going to bring up the script. So you can see from a video way back, I believe it was the first one, we had originally written a function called hello. And basically what that function does is takes a name and then displays the user hello, or returns basically hello, my name is, and then we add the name to it. So that's an example of a function. There are other examples of functions, and we're going to begin with the inbuilt function. These are a function that comes with Python, so you don't need to write these functions. These are already built into Python. So let's take a look at some of these functions, and you can find out more about this function by simply doing a Google search and so forth. So one of the common function that we use is the type function, which, as we know, when given a value, it returns us the type. Such as when we pass 5 into it, it gives us class int. We know that function. There's another function called float. And what this function does, it takes a value, whether it be an integer or a string of numbers, and converts it to a float. Example, let's say I put 5.6 inside quotations, and I end it in a bracket and hit enter. It gives me the float 5.6. Similarly, if I write the function float and I pass a value of 5 into it, it will give me a float, which is 5.0, where 5 is just an integer. And another example of a Python built-in function is one called int. And this one, basically what it does is it can take a numerical value, which is an integer in quotation, and then returns us that integer value. Or if, for example, we say int and we pass a float into it, such as 3.17, close it and we hit enter, we get the integer value, which is just 3. Alright, so that's some examples of Python built-in function. There are a lot more. In fact, let's take a look at some of other functions that Python has, and these ones come from the math module. So the math module in Python is basically a module that we can import, and it gives us access to a variety of inbuilt math functions. So let's take a look at it. So inside here I'm gonna write import math, hit enter. That imports the math module, and then now we have access to other functions such as square root. In order to use the square root function, we basically type math.sqrt for square root, and then we pass a number to it and it finds the square root of that number. So example 9, the square root of 9 I believe is 3, and we get 3.0. And we can call it again math.sqrt, and we pass 25. The square root of that should be 5, and we have 5.0. But you notice math.square root returns us a float value. If we want an integer, we could simply say int, and then inside this we're going to type math.sqrt 25 end bracket, hit enter, and we get 5. Basically what we did a while ago was call a function within another function. Now we also not only have access to math.sqrt, which is square root, we have access to math.sign, which gives us the sign of a number, and the sign of 0 is 0, and math.sign And I believe the sign of 90 is, oops, sorry, math dot sign. My bad. And sign of 90 is 0.8933399, that long number right there. So as you can see, Python has some inbuilt functions that are very useful and that we can use. You can do more research into that because there are a lot of them. It would be a very lengthy video if we were to go through that. But let's move on to a more fundamental concept. Because so far we looked at Python inbuilt function, but Python also allows us to create our own function. So as I said, think back to this example hello where we created our own function, right? So we already went through what hello does. It basically returns a string that says hello, my name is, plus the name that was given. So one of the best ways to learn about function is to basically do them by example. So let's write a couple of functions. And these are our own user-built functions. So Python allows us to create our own function. So let's create a function called print lyrics. And what this function is going to do is basically print something to the user. So first, when we're creating a function, we first begin by writing the keyword def, which stands for define. This is how we define our function. Then we give it a name, and the name of it is print lyrics. This function takes no parameters or no arguments, and then all it's gonna do is just print out to the user a string that we're gonna type in right here. And the string that I'm gonna type in is that I'm gonna say I'm a rock star and great. I'm a rock star and I am great. I am a rock star and I am great. And then let's print out just one more. I'm gonna print out another statement. And the statement I'm gonna print out is I party all night and work all day. Alright, so that's our function. So let's take a look at it. We're gonna hit the run module. We're gonna hit OK, save, and right here we're gonna call the function print underscore lyrics. I hit enter and we get I am a rock star, I am great, I party all night and work all day. Alright, so that's our function. As I said before, we started with the keyword def, which is a Python keyword for define, followed by the name of the function, which is print lyrics, and then this function takes no parameters, and then we have the colon, which symbolizes the end of this header right here. And then after that, we have the body of the function, which we know because it's indented. And this body of function, all we're doing is printing to the user, I am a rock star, I am great, and print, I party all night and work all day. I should also mention that print is also an inbuilt Python function that allows us to display information to the user from our program. Alright? So in this next example, I'm gonna do another function. This function I'm gonna call repeat lyrics. So repeat underscore lyrics. And what I'm gonna do inside here is that I'm gonna call the function print lyrics. So we can call functions within another functions. And that is a powerful thing that Python allows us to do. So I'm gonna call this function twice. Alright. So let's take a look at it. I'm gonna save, hit run, and now I'm gonna call the function repeat underscore lyrics. And we get I am a rock star, I am great, I party all night, work all day. I am a rock star, I am great, party all night, work all day. So as you can see here, in repeat lyrics, we're basically calling the function print lyrics twice, hence why we have this statement being printed 2 times. So functions are very useful, and they allow us to do a wide range of things. So moving on, I want to talk about functions and how it kind of works behind the scene. So in this Python script, when you define a function, what is actually happening in the background is that the Python is basically creating a function object whenever you define a function. So in this case, Python goes in, it creates a hello. Since the function name, since we have 3 functions right here, Python goes in and it basically creates 3 function objects. But whenever we define a function, the statement or the body of the function does not get executed until we call the function. So when Python goes in, it creates 3 function objects, but it does not execute any of these statements or any of the body of any function. The only time the body of the function or the statement of the function get executed is when the function is being called. So in this example, right, I'm going to run the Python module again, and as you can see here, it starts out blank. But let's say I were to write type, and then inside this I'm gonna pass the hello function, and what do I get? Oh, it's missing one argument, I forgot. Hello requires a name. Let's type that again. Type hello, and let's pass a name of John. I hit enter, and we get type class of string. Oh, that's because this returns a string. Let's try it with a different function. Type print underscore lyrics. This one doesn't return anything. Hit enter, and we get class type none. Right. Yes. Alright, so in this example, we get class of string because hello is returning an actual string. And we get, for this example, we get print lyrics, we get none type because print lyrics is not actually returning anything. So that's the difference between return and print. So return actually returns the value, while print only displays it. So that's a key thing to note when using these functions. Hold on. Alright, so continuing, let me try this one. Type, gonna say print underscore lyrics. Close that, hit enter, and I get a class of function. So this is actually what I wanted to show you guys. So you can see right here, when Python goes in, it creates 3 function objects, right? And basically when I have type and I pass print lyrics, this is without the actual I would say parentheses, I get a class of function. That means it's of the object being created right here. It's a function object. When I put the parentheses, I'm basically actually calling the function, and what gets returned from the function is what gets passed into type, and then type tells us what is it that's being the type of what it is that's being returned by the function. So in this case, as I said, this function isn't returning anything, which is why we get a none type down here. And here we're returning a string, which is why we get a string, class string right here. But down here, we're not actually calling the function, we're just passing the function object to it, and we get a type of class function. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Alright, so let me close this because that's getting a bit cluttered. I'm going to type ideally again and open this. A new window. Alright, so here, as I said before, I'm gonna run the module. Oh, okay. Alright, and we can see nothing gets executed right here. But let's say, for example, down here, I'm gonna call the function print underscore lyrics. Alright, save, hit run. When I run the module, you can see it prints what is in the statement up here. So what's the difference? As I said before, when Python goes into your script, it creates the function object, but it doesn't actually execute any of the statements until the function is called. That is why if I were to remove this line now and save and hit run again, nothing happened because I haven't called the function yet. If I call the function in here, print underscore lyrics, that's when the function gets executed, and that's when Python basically, that's when the function gets executed. And here I can execute the function from the script by simply calling the function down here, print underscore lyrics. Hit save, run, and you can see it right there. So that's an important thing to note. Also, before I end this video, I want to talk about the flow of execution in terms of Python. So when Python begins to read your script, it reads your script from top to bottom. And one of the key things you need to note with function is that you can't use a function that you haven't defined yet. So in this example, I'm going to show you the error message of what's going to happen if I try to call the print underscore lyrics function before I actually defined it. So if I call it before I actually define it and try to run it, I'm going to get an error. And you can see right here, the error I get is print lyrics is not defined, because I'm trying to call a function before I actually defined it. Because Python reads your script from top to bottom. So Python sees this and tries to execute it, but it doesn't get defined until down here. So that is why Python throws this error, print lyrics is not defined. So that's something that you should keep in mind when writing your programs, is that you cannot use functions that you have not defined. Alright, and remember, in terms of the flow of execution of Python, Python begins from top of your script at the very top and reads it down to the bottom. Now, when you call a function in your script, that can change Python's, I would say, flow of execution. So what that means is, if I were to put hello right here, and I'm going to pass a name to it such as Kim, what's going to happen now is Python is basically going to start from the bottom. It's going to create the function object hello. It's going to create the function object print lyrics. But right here, I'm calling the function hello Kim. So right now, Python's going to jump back up to hello and execute the statement that's inside of it. Then once the statement is executed, now it's going to come back down, pick up where it left off, and then create the function object repeat lyrics. Alright, and if we go ahead and hit save, we can run this and we can see it in action. Alright, and that should, let's see, hello Kim. Alright, so it works, but right here, the reason why we're not seeing it, let's see, I'm gonna change it from return to print. Alright, that way it can actually display to the user. Hit run module. There we go. Alright, so as I said, there's a key difference between return and print. Return just returns the value from the program. It doesn't actually display it. Print is the function that actually displays the value to the user. So that's why we had that little hiccup right there. So key takeaway from this video is that Python has inbuilt functions that we can use. You can do a Google search to find out more about those. We used some of them before, such as type function, the print function, int function, and the float function. But the key, or the main thing, is that Python allows us to create our own function, which is what we did here. We created our function hello from a couple videos back. We created print lyrics, and we create repeat lyrics, and so forth. And one of the things that you should note is the flow of execution in terms of Python. Python always begins at the top of your scripts and goes down to the bottom. But as you can see, sometimes function calls also kind of causes the flow of execution to change up a bit. So it will go here, it will create the function objects, and right here when we call the function, it's going to go back up to hello and then execute the statements inside that function. So remember, when you define a function, Python doesn't actually execute any of those statements until you actually call the function. Alright, and that's it for this video. Function is quite a lengthy topic, and I believe we're heading into a large time limit for this video. So in the next video, we're gonna continue on with functions. I believe this will be a 3-part video. I hope to see you in the videos to come. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you.